Hello, I'm Red Pocketwatch, and this is Watch Pocket Gaming. Yes, it's a terrible pun, and I need a better intro. Let's go. Alright, let's talk Voltar. Now, Voltar is an interesting and potentially problematic character I've found. Because, well, when I was new to the game, I quite liked him. He seemed pretty easy, because you just walk forwards and heal the droids and they attack the turrets and you win. Of course, in practice, that doesn't necessarily work. But it was simple, and it was fairly easy to be, or at least feel like I was being a decent Voltar. Whereas, like, now, having gotten more into the game, after a while I started to have issues with Voltar, and that basically the reason why he's simple is because he can be kind of linear. In a game where jumping around, platforming can be a big deal, Voltar often can just sort of walk forwards in a straight line and heal things, and that will work. Except for then it won't, and you feel your lack of the sort of useful vertical mobility can be a problem. It certainly was an issue that I had with him for quite a while, because it's difficult to have vertical movement with Voltar. He has issues with momentum, so changing directions is a problem, so you can't sort of jump back and forth all the time like a lot of characters do. Of course, also, you want to be healing things. You want to be healing the droids. So, they're on the ground. You don't want to jump too high, because then you will be out of range of them with your heal wave. But then on the other hand, your teammates may be jumping around all over the place. You also want to heal them, but then that means, well, basically it's like you're on the enemy team trying to shoot them, except you're on your team trying to shoot them with heals. And so, if they're dodging effectively, then they're making things more difficult for you. Potentially. But, that being said, I feel I've gotten kind of a bit better at Voltar lately. And basically, part of it is just getting used to his movement. The fact that he can hover after jumping, you can do a fair amount with that. And also, the other kind of big point is his knockback upgrades can be really effective. I know, like, some people will play without them, and it's probably still reasonable, but personally I've found that I really like them. And also, I suppose the other point is not to underestimate his offensive capabilities. Because, yes, you can focus on healing a lot, but you can also deal a fair amount of damage with the drones, which people don't expect you to do. So, boring preamble out of the way, onto this actual match. Let's just look at my upgrades. You'll see I'm focusing on healing early on. I've got both my abilities, because I really don't understand Voltars who will start the game without drones and just be completely dependent on their team to defend them. But yes, so I've got the drones and I've got the heal wall because it is really useful, but then I've gone straight into Happy Thoughts, which means that I can just spam heals all the time and that will get me the maximum amount of heals per second that I can get. Yeah, and also that will get me more solar gain, so it's all good really. And then solar crab burgers, so that when I get solar from healing, I will then get healed by that solar. Like, I don't usually get it this early on, because Voltar can get by decently well for a while just by healing himself only with his heal bot. But in this case, with a Gnaw on the map, the ability to heal yourself is really significant. And he managed to catch him there. See the drones, they're good. Yes, then in general, I mentioned the knockback, and in the build that I'm running in this match, I have both the knockback abilities that he has, on the heal wave and on the heal bot. And on my drones, I've gone for the maximum DPS drones. So basically, the way I'm trying to play Voltar in this match is all about positioning all the time. It's just about being in the right place where my drones will just do all the shooting for me, and potentially using the knockback to shift the enemies into less favourable positions. And it works out pretty well. Of course, one of the other problems with Voltar, of course, is that he's a Naut who, he's much better with specific team comms kind of built around him. In this case, I think I just wanted to play Voltar this match, but it was also Lone Star Raelin, not necessarily a perfect combination to go with Voltar, but it means that we have a ridiculous amount of pushing power, and you can do a lot with a ridiculous amount of pushing power, surprisingly enough. One of the problems that one does often have with Voltar is going back to buy upgrades. A lot of the time you don't, because you can keep your entire team on pretty good health all the time once you've got a couple of healing upgrades, and then it's well, you don't want to just leave them, and you don't feel like you need to go back because you're on perfectly reasonable health. So yeah, you end up accumulating large amounts of solar, which I don't know how much I had, but I've just spent it. And bought boots, knockback on heal wave, and drone army for the extra drone. So yeah. Now, I would say I personally kind of feel like there's... couldn't quite catch Sentry there. I personally feel like there's a lot less point in buying the knockback on heal wave until you've got boots. If Lone Star had been around to help me there, that Yuri would probably be dead. But alas, no. Because, one of the powerful uses of knockback is what I just did. You can come up behind someone and just push them into a turret, or just into your teammates. And obviously, if you have boots, then it becomes a lot easier to do that. Without boots, it can be very difficult to do that, and you're more likely to just get yourself killed. But that said, like, you might be surprised at how viable it is for Voltar to just jump into the middle of people to use his knockback on them. That's another reason why this build I have the full DPS drones, because then, like, I'm not relying on hanging back and hitting them with burst damage from a distance. I'm planning to, like, jump in and use the knockback, in which case the drones will just do that DPS. So yeah, as you can see, we had a lot of difficulty getting Nor out of the mid, but we did manage it each time, and like, I don't know if they were actually farming the solar at the bottom of the worm. If they were, then like, they clearly weren't doing it very well. But of course, I suppose I was Voltar, had a Raylan for a teammate, both Nauts who can farm solar incredibly well. So it was unlikely that we were going to end up getting out-leveled. Yes, just running around, healing everything. That's the other thing. Of course, Voltar is somewhat of a counter to Nor, because Nor is all about, like, harassment. I completely failed to body block that. But yeah, Nor is all about, you know, harassment with all this damage over time abilities. And Voltar can just heal that up. So, like, Nor versus Voltar, if it goes badly for Nor, then basically he's going to end up just feeding solar to Voltar, which is not something you generally want to be doing, because Voltar potentially can start out a bit iffy and then become unstoppable late game. He creates the famous Voltar train on which there are no brakes. So yeah, that's not to say, of course, that Nor can't beat Voltar. It certainly can be done, but it's difficult. Yeah, I dropped in there to, like, knock them out, and Nor did die there, so it's possible that I contributed to that, but I don't really know. Because turret down, that one's about half health. This one's fine, this one's low. No, yeah, Lone Star has been getting in a lot of good kind of pokes on this, which, like, that's good. Like, they've just been holding the mid here, and there's nothing to stop Lone Star just going over and throwing balls and dynamites at that turret. Which is generally kind of the other thing. Like, if you can't take the little bush in the mid on Serona, then, like, take the sky. There's solar there as well, and if they just hang around in that little mid bush, then well, they're stationary and you're mobile around them, however secure their position may be. Yeah, like, though we have been having issues getting them out of mid, like, we're pretty well equipped to deal with it, just because I'm Voltar. If we drop in onto some mines, I can just heal up the damage, and again, it's more money for me. What did I buy when I died? Pills, damage on drones, and knockback on healbot. So yeah, all the knockback, and I remember what's about to happen here. Firstly, lag, and secondly, this. Air kills, always fun. And again, like, this is why, like, Voltar in particular, but any Naught with an ability to kind of hover can be really effective on Sirona. And now, like, now we're approaching sort of Voltar train status. Like, as you see there, we had one droid. We had the hummingbird droid, which Raylan spawned with her time rift. But that was it. And I was just able to pretty much out-heal the turret. And yeah, so now I'm not entirely sure what. Yeah, Sentry is over here dealing with the super droid, and I'm like, okay, super droid is a problem, but we are pushing the turret, which is kind of more important. Yuri is trying to mine up our escape route, but we don't need an escape route because the Voltar train has no brakes. And Sentry rage quit. So yeah, I suppose I didn't actually get to show off much of what I was talking about the knockback and positioning, DPS drones and so on. Maybe I should have picked a different replay to show that off, but you saw a couple of bits anyway. See you in the next video.